All right, we're here with part 3. Just incredible interview. NoKFaving.com.
Part 3, we're going on part 4, aren't we?
No, this is part
3.
Yeah, part 3.
Been at it for a while now.
Yeah, man. Trying to give something, to the people that,
Yeah.
let them enjoy something and give them a better understanding about wrestling and, what y'all go through, and,
Absolutely.
I want a better understanding out there for wrestling,
Yeah.
So, this is going to be pretty long, and we're going to take our time and
we're in no rush.
Teach. We're going to teach, You ever hang out with Hogan?
Yeah, one time.
Yeah?
One time it was great.
One time? Where at?
We just finished taping a TV, not sure what, it was 2001. I'm not sure what town we were in, but it was me, it was when the NWO was in, 2002 I should say. It was me, X-Pac, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. And me and Pac were invited to the room by Scott and Kev to go smoke a doob. And I walk in, man, there's Hulk still in the red and yellow spandex with the bandana on, looking like Hulk Hogan, And, I sit there, smoked a blunt with him.
With Hogan?
With Hulk, yeah.
I heard he likes smoking a lot of weed,
man. He was cool as fuck, Hulk Hogan.
I heard he likes smoking weed.
I never did business with him. I know he could be pretty, pretty, not say ruthless,
what year was
that's a bad
this?
word. This was 2002.
Oh, yeah?
But he's pretty, he's a pretty savvy businessman, so I never did business with him. But as a person, the time I hung out with him, he was cool as fuck, man.
Yeah?
Hulk was cool, he was real,
Cool.
Very, very pleased.
You hear that a lot. Some people, you don't talk bad about him, but you hear a lot of people talk good about him.
Yeah, I like Hulk a lot. That time I hung out with him, he was real cool.
Cool. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
I want you to name the clip and elaborate on how you became down with them, how you became a member.
Kliq?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but, even I didn't know. I found out a couple of months ago that you was the 6th man in the Kliq. It was 5 of them. It's X-Pac, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, who else? Hunter, and yourself.
Yeah.
I never knew you was down with them.
It started very organically, I should say. Basically, man, I was down with Scott from day one. Scott Hall was always into, he believed in passing down his knowledge of the business, as I do today, to the young guys.
Yeah.
And he was always into that. So Scott saw me, young as fuck, green, kid, who was quiet, talented, but willing to learn.
Yeah.
And one thing about the Kliq, and I know Pac will say this, everybody that will talk about this will say this, the one common goal that brought us all together was our passion for wrestling.
Yeah, I heard about that.
A lot of the big names, bro, that you talk to that are on the circuit today, they're in it for, a lot of them are in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
A lot of them, more than you believe, are in it for the money. And, which is fine, it's all about money. But we believed in working as hard as we could every night. And at that time, business was slow. Vince wasn't doing great box office business. So we were working hard to try to bring business to the level it was at in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And that was the groundwork that those guys laid down, the foundation. We believed, they changed the business with DX.
Yeah.
I changed the business with ECW. Scott and Kev did it with NWO.
Yeah.
So we all in different federations helped change the business.
Yeah.
That's how we see it. And that passion is what differentiated us from the other guys, and that's what kept us together. I was closer to Scott and Shawn Michaels at the time. And before Shawn, I was with Hunter because Hunter was kind of the new guy because he came in '95 and I was already there. I was in WWF, Hunter was...
So you was with the Kliq before, huh?
I was hanging out with Scott, before Hunter, So when Hunter came in, me and Hunter would travel together, depending, they ran 2 shows a night. So depending on who was, if I was on the A tour, I would hook up with one of those guys, so if there was 6 of us, 3 would be on one house show, 3 would be on the other, or 4 would be on one and 2 would be on the other. So we'd always hook up with, who was there. And that's how it was very, it's not like I said, okay, we're going to be part of the Kliq. we just buddied up all the time, and that's just who I gravitated to. I couldn't rent cars. I was too young to rent a car.
Yeah.
So I just went with those guys because they would accept me into their clique, their family.
I heard a couple of people get credit for that name. Lex Luger was one that was on camera saying that he gave them that name.
The Kliq?
Who gave them that name?
Yeah. Kliq is just something that is used like in high school. You know, the cliques of kids, and
it's
that's
like
all.
A crew.
And that's all it was. It's just calling us a group of guys.
Who started?
You know?
Who started that name?
I don't know. I couldn't even begin to,
Lex,
if I said
Lex
something.
gave himself credit as being the one who made that name.
Okay.
I think somebody else did too. I don't recall. Alright, can you speak about your 2006 return to the WWE?
Yeah. I had done the 2005 One Night Stand.
Yeah.
Which was a huge success. I had a good part in it. I helped. I was involved in Lance Storm's match with Chris Jericho, which is funny because if you think back to the Calgary days, Lance and Chris and I all started together. So it was Lance's retirement match, and I was involved in that. And then I was also involved in the main event. It was me and Lance. We came out and pile drove Tommy Dreamer and Sandman in the main event. So in 2006, they were doing another One Night Stand. And basically, at that time, coming after One Night Stand, they were planning to put ECW back together. So it was just, Dreamer called me, offered me a contract, and that was it.
Dreamer. I heard he was making decisions up there.
Yeah. And offered me another contract, and off we went.
Yeah, alright. One of my, I want to explain one of my goals of my site. I have a lot of goals, and, I explained to you a little bit, and, everything makes sense to me, like I said, everything I do on my site, if you follow up again, one thing leads to another, and if you follow up, you will see that you will learn a lot from the business, about the business, from following my site. Okay, one of the things that I want to focus on is the independent circuit.
Yeah.
The reason why is because I love wrestling, and I see things for what they are. I've been around the independent circuit. I sort of know some of the payoffs that these guys been getting, and the struggle it is in the independent circuit.
Yeah.
I want to be able to interview the independent guys at the same time one day, so they could give their story. I know you have worked independent.
That's where I am right now.
It's a real struggle, I think, right?
A huge struggle, yeah.
I want you to just speak about what these young guys nowadays going through to make it in this business, to do what they want and what they love, and how hard it is, and the payoffs, and, in this independent circuit that's going on now.
To try to put it all together in a way that makes sense, it's in the young guys' perspective, it's really no it is different, but not too different, as we all, even when I came up in the Indies in the beginning of my career, I feel like I did a 360 because, you start in the Indies, quite frankly, you end up in the Indies.
You would call where you started Indies? Was it territories?
It was not really territories. No? The territories were dying. The only one left was Jerry Lawler's.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so even for me, I was starting in the Indies. Yeah. But today, it's very similar. You work for very little money, especially the young guys with no name.
Very similar to back then, yeah?
Yeah, $40.
Same amount of money, yeah?
$40, gas money.
Yeah.
Most guys in the Indies, though, have other jobs and stuff,
Yeah.
So, very challenging. And the worst thing about the Indies, I think, are, for every good indie, and there are some good ones out there, you get a ton bad,
What you mean by that? Elaborate a little bit.
You do get some real nice promotions, like I work for a couple right now, the main one I do. They run 2 to 3 shows a month. It's called FTW.
Yeah.
Fight the World Wrestling. They're based out of New York City, Long Island. They draw real well, and they offer, like I said, I work 3 times a month for them. But they're guys, though that's a good promotion. They draw well, and they pay their guys as much as they can to keep running.
Yeah.
But other guys, you get guys, I just did a show recently. Embarrassment. I drove 5 hours to Pennsylvania one way, so 10 hours round trip. Got shorted $50, and there was 5 people in the crowd. 5 people. And so you got a lot of guys out there who front on the computers as promoters.
Yeah.
They contact you.
Yeah.
They book you saying that it's going to be all these fans and this great experience, and it ends up being 9 times out of 10 it's the shits.
Yeah.
So that's really shitty. And there's a lot of that.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay, go ahead. But one thing I was going to say, compared to real quick before we go somewhere else, the Indies then, compared to now, was then I got the opportunity to wrestle a lot of good veterans that taught me a lot about the game.
Yeah.
Now, you got guys that aren't even trained working against guys that aren't trained.
Yeah,
so nobody's learning. The
nothing.
torch ain't being passed down. That knowledge that I got, the privilege of, I got taught, not taught like in wrestling camp, but like down the line through the years.
Yeah.
I learned from, the Kliq guys. Bret Hart, I learned by watching him every night. Kurt Hennig, I got the privilege of being his friend and actually wrestling against him, Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
So I learned from him, and they all passed the business down to me. And when I'm in the ring on the independent level, I try to pass that business down to them, to the young guys, the way it was given to me. These guys don't have that opportunity, and it's really sad. And for a guy like myself, who now has come 30-60 and is working the independents for a living, even a guy like myself who could ask for a lot more money than these guys are asking, still very difficult. All the way around, it's very difficult, period, to make money in wrestling. Even TNA guys. People think you're on TV and you're making... Those TNA guys, unless they're the top guys, aren't making dick. I guarantee you the X Division guys, even the guys that are over, are making $500 a night. Guaranteed. And that's what I'm getting on an indie show.
Yeah. It's terrible.
So, it's all a work.
When you in the independence, I'm just wondering, I'm just imagining, I'm imagining as you're talking, and you ever look at these independent guys and just have any thoughts that go through your mind? What goes through your mind when you see them and what they're going through and what you went through, and what are your thoughts?
What saddens me is that these guys don't even realize what's going on around them. What I mean by that is that show where 5 fans were, the guys in the building, all of them, the boys in the locker room, they weren't saying, what's wrong with this picture? Why are we here in front of 5 people? What's wrong?
Yeah.
They were happy. They were just marking out for themselves. That's the thing, is these guys aren't even real wrestlers anymore. That's the problem with the community of wrestling. Is these young kids are just satisfied with just to be out there in a ring. They don't know, they're not in it for the business. They're not in it to, and it's okay if you're a weekend warrior, almost like a softball league with work, like a work softball league. That's fine, but I just see that these guys aren't trying to make the business better for the next guy. They're just in it to put on a pair of tights and play wrestling for the weekend. Whereas I'm doing this because I love it, and this is how I make my living, and I want to keep the long tradition, the beautiful, rich tradition of wrestling alive. And they should be saying to themselves, what the fuck is wrong with this? Why aren't we grilling the promoter? Why are we being fucked like this? Why'd you promise me $250 and you're giving me $160?
Yeah.
And I'm driving 10 hours to wrestle in front of 5 people? You're lucky I don't kick your ass. And these people don't see it like that, man. It's not professional wrestling anymore. It's almost like amateur hour, except for a handful of guys. And that's killing this business.
That's terrible, because
it's killing the business, bro.
It's terrible. Let me tell you why. What comes to mind for me from that. When I ask the question, I'm asking with the intent, because I love wrestling, and I'll support any company of wrestling, because I love it.
Sure.
No matter what, I don't care who it is. That's a wrestling fan. You're gonna support it no matter what. You know, and try to make it better, try to make it bigger, right?
Yeah.
So, when I asked you the question, I asked you the question thinking in my mind, you know, I feel sorry for these guys. I feel bad for these guys that, you know, it's hard for them to make it in this business. And then when I asked you the question, I'm expecting a reaction from you that, you know, you feel bad for them for what they're making, what's going on, and you totally reversed it and went somewhere else on me.
Because I don't feel that they're in it for the right reasons.
No, honestly, you know? I'm glad you're speaking the way you speak, because I want to, like, I asked you a question to give me your feelings towards it, and that's your feelings, and that's what I want to know.
This is another problem. There are some guys out there, and this that don't belong in the ring, but promoters will. There's some leagues, even FTW does this, which I agree because they need to make money, but I disagree with the concept. Wrestlers pay $200 a piece to be on the show. So yeah, it's going for, you know, those pre-shows. The pre-shows. They're paying to work. They're paying to work. So the promoter makes money. But what does that tell you? We're paying to wrestle? Are you kidding me? But they're killing the business. Yeah, exactly. Because promoters are getting this shit for. You're paying the promoter.
Yeah, man, that's ridiculous.
Bro, this business is turned upside down. It's become a world. Instead of us being entertainers, it's becoming a world of marks.
It's terrible, man.
And there's nothing wrong with being a mark.
Okay, now that you said mark, not that you bring up that word, that's a word that stands out to me a lot. All right, I'm gonna give you a little reason why it stands out to me. Mark, in my opinion, from what I've seen in the business, is a fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, I've noticed that when wrestlers speak about marks, for some wrestlers, not all of them, some wrestlers call us a mark, call fans a mark, in some sort of
derogatory
way. Okay, now, the way I look at that, the word mark doesn't bother me at all.
Doesn't bother me either.
One, because I'm a fan. I am a fan. I won't deny that.
No.
What I don't understand about that is I haven't seen, I think I've seen maybe one or two. It's really rare that you find a wrestler that wasn't a fan growing up.
True. Especially today, yeah.
So how do you go from being a fan and loving wrestling to wanting to call somebody a mark when you're a mark yourself, for one, and for two, of all people that I've seen call themselves marks, I heard a story of Kevin Nash saying to Shawn Michaels, how do you go out there and break your body like that? You know, when you crazy, what are you doing? And Shawn Michaels looked at him and said, I'm a fucking mark.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking mark. So that's Shawn Michaels now telling you he's a fucking mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? Yet you use that word derogatory as if, you know, you're degrading us. Yet you're a mark too yourself.
It's something, it could be used in very many terms.
The best example that I seen that they gave me so far is that they forgot where they came from.
Yeah, sometimes you do.
That's the best example I got, because I told this story before.
Mark is a word that could be used in a lot of ways. And a mark, when we use it, I call people marks. But when I call somebody a mark, is a derogatory thing. But it's almost to say that you're a mark, like you don't get the... Like if I call one of the boys a mark, it means you don't get the business. You're not smart. Like you're not seeing the big picture. You're ignorant to the wrestling game. There's the other way to use it, is a mark in the sense of we are enlightened, we're smartened up on the work, and you are not. You're the mark, the guy we're showing the business to. You're the audience, we're the showmen. Yeah. That's the traditional term. When I use it to one of the boys, I'm saying you're ignorant, you're a mark, you don't know. You're being stupid, like you're doing something whack, you know? It's almost like a lot of times the N-word in urban society. It's used sometimes in a negative connotation. I won't even say it, you know. But some people use it in an endearing, like you're like a brother.
Friends,
you know. So it's used very liberally, and it could be interpreted in many different ways. I think deep down inside, the boys are all marks. We all are fans.
I'm glad I got that on tape because honestly,
that's
I never understood that.
There's very many ways to use Mark.
Like I say
that's the best
it's
explanation.
Hypocritical. It seems hypocritical.
It depends how you use it. Just like what that other word or term I was could be used in many ways. That's all how you interpret it, how you say it to somebody. You're a Mark, or hey, we're all Marks, or whatever.
It's all part of the Carney language too, right?
Yes.
That's part of Carney. Yeah.
It is. And a lot of people don't even understand it anymore. The tradition never got passed down the right way.
Yeah.
That's why I'm glad when you did it with Roddy Piper, you really got, you felt, you learned something that day.
Yeah,
because the way he used it, because he was right. Yeah. Because let's say
I always learn.
Let's say all three of us are wrestlers. We're talking, we have a three-way dance tonight. We're talking about our match. And somebody strolls into the locker room that's not in the business. Like a fan stumbles in by accident. Kayfabe, we'll say kayfabe out loud, and that means to put your guard up, to quiet down. Someone's here that shouldn't be listening. Someone's not. You know what I mean? He's not in the clique, the brotherhood. He's not part of it.
Yeah.
So that word means to put your guard up, to stop talking about what you're talking about.
Can you give another example besides that way? Because I know there's other ways you can use it too that seem nothing like that.
Yeah. That to me is the original term though. To kayfabe somebody is to not tell them.
To hide, right?
To hide, yeah. Which in essence is like if somebody came in the room to hide what we're doing, but it's a signal. It could be a lot of things too.
Yeah,
the meaning is broad. Put it that way.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. What made you decline to come back in November 2010 as Aldo Montoya?
I just felt, quite frankly, there's nothing there for me. I knew they offered me a nice payday.
Really?
Yeah.
For how long?
$1,500 for one night.
Oh, one night?
One night, $1,500.
And you said no?
I said no because I worked my ass off to be just incredible, and to be that superstar and to be a world champion.
Yeah.
And I know that that Aldo Montoya was going to be used to make fun of as a joke.
Okay.
And pretty much just to destroy me. They wanted Kane to choke slam me and to mock me, with the mask and stuff. And I didn't want Just Incredible, the character, to be tarnished by an Aldo appearance. If they would have used Aldo in a good light, I would have done it. But I knew it was a one night thing to embarrass me, kind of goof on the whole era. I just didn't want to be part of it. That's what they wanted to do?
Yeah, why would they do something like that? You're goofing on your own company. Like, that makes no sense.
They're goofing on that, that era of crappy gimmicks.
And
I was part of it.
You invented it.
Right, but they're goofing on themselves. I just didn't want to be part of the goof. I didn't want to be part of the goof.
That don't make sense.
I could have used the money, but I thought my integrity at that moment was more important than the money.
Honestly, I think it's real childish. I think that's real childish.
That's how I look at it. And it was real hard for me to turn it down.
Yeah.
I think that's a childish way to look at it. $1,500 is a lot of money I could use.
It's hard to believe that some, office stand-up people so high would think of these.
That's how they are, man. They play with people's lives, man.
Terrible. How does WWE get to steal people's names that they didn't create, such as Just Incredible, and how does that?
They don't own that name. Believe it or not, Vince sold that name back to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know at one point you couldn't use it, right?
Well, no, I could have. The TNA was scared because an indie promoter who had no rights to my name, out of spite, copywrote it for a year, just to fuck me.
Okay.
He had no right to the name. He was never Just Incredible. He just wanted to dick me because we had a disagreement, and but now it's public domain. Nobody owns it.
Oh,
quite frankly, I should copyright it, but quite frankly, it's cost a lot of money.
How much?
And a couple $100. I just don't have a couple. I hate talking money, but it's not that I don't have it. I don't have it to spend on a name because I have a family, and to me, it's something that, I just can't do right now.
I hear you. That they did steal the Dudleys' name, so can you elaborate?
Yeah, they own the Dudleys' name. It depends
how did they get to steal people's names that were
the Dudleys signed it over to them.
Oh,
yeah, I signed my name over to them. When you sign that contract, you sign away the rights to that name.
Yeah.
And Vince gave me my name back. The Dudleys left under, I guess, not as good of terms.
Yeah.
And Vince said, I ain't giving it to you.
No doubt.
So it depends how you leave, if you could work something out. I had to buy it back.
Yeah.
I didn't get it for free. I had to pay $3,000.
Wow.
Vince bought my contract out. The remainder of my contract.
That's a hard guy,
Vince cut me a check for 50 G's. That's what was left of my contract. And Vince took out $3,000 out of that $50,000 check. I got 47.
Wow.
But I got my name back. I got the piece of paper with my name.
Yeah. Can you tell me your most memorable moment in wrestling? Period. Your most.
Wow, that's a great question, man. I really don't have one defining moment. This might surprise you, I guess, because it wasn't a very big moment in the landscape of pro wrestling. To me, it's something that I always think about. My biggest moment, for me, accomplishment-wise, is when I won the ECW World Title. That to me is always, it was at the ECW Arena, Cyber Slam, April 2000. I know the day, April 4th, 2000, is when I won the heavyweight title. But the most memorable for me that I always think about, as far as I feel like I had success and made it, was WrestleMania 17, Houston Astrodome. Yeah. I got to go out in front of 67,000 fans, and just going through that curtain, dude. And I walk out and I do my thing, and I look, and it's a baseball stadium filled with. It's like you know when you look out into the ocean and you see the sea and it's never ending. Yeah. I looked out and I did my thing, and I just see a sea of never-ending fans, and they're looking at me, this kid from Waterbury, Connecticut, and I just, it's not a big moment. As far as it wasn't the biggest match of the year or on the card, it was a throwaway match.
Feeling, man.
But the feeling of being the center of attention for that 10 seconds, those 10 seconds were mine.
Yeah, man.
On the in front of almost 100,000 people. That's like I said, the world title and other title victories, and I've had 4-star matches on pay-per-view that are much more memorable. But that one memory and feeling, I don't forget, and I hold that with a lot of pride.
No doubt.
Not everybody makes it to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, man. I can imagine.
Did.
Oh, is it true you was born in Ozone Park, New York?
No, Waterbury, Connecticut.
Really?
Yeah, that was a gimmick that Paul threw out.
You're really Portuguese, ain't you?
100% Portuguese. Yeah.
Speak Portuguese, right?
Falo português toda a minha vida, sei falar muito bem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you I know it's close to Spain and they speak proper Spanish. Do you speak Spanish?
Un poquito de español también.
Hispanic.
Un poquito de español,
sí.
Cuban. Yo hablo español.
Yeah?
Sí.
No doubt. That's cool. Do you agree Madison Square Garden as being one of the Mecca buildings?
For wrestling?
Best venues?
Yeah. I think in American history, period.
How did you feel performing there?
It was cool, man. It was cool. It was very cool. Especially in the back room, the locker room. To see they have a wall and a corridor with all these historic performers. Elvis, Frank Sinatra, Led Zeppelin. The legendary acts of all time. And to know that you're performing in the most famous arena in the world is special. Is very special. The biggest match I had there was a semi-main event. X Factor, me and X-Pac against the Hardy Boys. We were the second match from the top. And that was a special moment.
One interesting thing, we had a conversation earlier, and you mentioned that it's actually not your favorite building to work in, though.
Not my total favorite building, no.
And honestly speaking, that kind of surprised me.
It does.
Well, it kind of surprised me. I expected you to say it was.
Well, because when I went to the Garden, and I wrestled the Garden, most of my times at the Garden, except for the X Factor match, were throwaway matches.
Yeah.
I could name a couple off the top of my head. Aldo Montoya against Quang. Okay? Aldo against Justin Hawk Bradshaw.
I seen you go over that. You went over that fight.
Many other matches, but not memorable.
Yeah.
The most memorable one I had was, like I said, X Factor against the Hardy Boys.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
But for me, the Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yeah.
3,500 people, and I'm the main event.
Oh,
so those 3,500 are
watching you
on me in the main event. It's a big difference when you're closing the show and all eyes are on you than when you're a filler match.
Yeah.
That's why the Hardy Boys match was special, because they were on to us. Yeah. You know, also the ECW Arena is probably my favorite place to wrestle.
Yeah. That's where? In Philadelphia?
In Philly, yeah. East Philly. South Philly.
What's your biggest payoff?
WrestleMania.
How much?
$10,000.
$10,000.
$10,000.
Wow. Why do they call you PJ? I recently heard that. I didn't hear many people.
Yeah, just my name, Peter Joseph, you know. Yeah, they're just a little nickname.
No doubt. 8-time hardcore champion?
Yeah.
How was that for you?
You know, not much. It was just a throwaway.
Yeah.
It didn't mean much.
You never got to own the belt, did you?
No, I don't have any of the belts. No, I never kept them. They don't let you keep them. 2-time ECW World Tag, 1-time World Heavyweight.
Yeah.
Those meant a lot more to me than the WWE titles.
Your wife told me you play a lot of different instruments.
A lot of instruments, yeah. Musician.
Can we hear a little bit about that? What kind of instruments you play and things like that?
You know, Jeff Hardy and I used to have a little jam band on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to bring our acoustic guitars on the road with us.
Yeah.
You know, our fucking guitar cases on our backs, because we spend a lot of time on the road, and basically it was a way to kill time in the hotel rooms, airports, all kinds of stuff. So it was just a way to, I always loved music. Never took it seriously, like to make music, not to make music. We made music, not to make an album or to try to go professional, but just something I've always loved and pretty good at. So just something I really enjoyed, man. Rock and roll style, alternative, grunge, that kind of vibe. I love rock.
I always kind of thought that y'all stood with the belts when y'all would win the belts. I know they doing the WWE now.
Yeah, now they do. They didn't
I thought
back
you
in
owned
the
the ECW belts.
No.
You didn't feel some type of way like you wanted to own it, and
I would love to, but
I mean, at the time you didn't make a argument about it.
No. Now they do. Now they do. If you win the world title, especially, they'll give you a replica. They give you the replica anyways.
Oh, that's what they give you?
They don't give you the real thing. Well, the real thing is...
So they give you the same thing
But you know what, though? They're no different than this.
Weight? The weight?
No.
Really?
This is it, bro. Yeah. Maybe the leather is better leather.
Yeah.
But the plates and stuff are just a little thicker.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Especially this one, the IC belt, especially. Same thing.
Yeah.
Just thicker. And there's no gold, believe me.
Yeah.
It's the same exact material you're looking at, So I lost I lost the whole thing for that, because now that they have so many replicas, you see that they're exactly like the real deal. So nothing. When everybody started having them, it lost its luster. When any fan could purchase it, what's the difference if I could purchase it? It's like purchase the Ultra Deluxe version.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. At the same time, I always thought the belt was different. I always not different, but it weighed more. It was just a little more solid.
Maybe a little more solid.
More expensive.
Not more expensive.
No?
The Ultra Deluxe version that they sell is the belt.
It's the belt. Yeah?
It's the belt.
Okay. Yeah. Ain't it that same size?
Yeah.
So why they call it Ultra Deluxe version?
Because it's the real version. It's the thicker leather.
Oh, it's a little thicker. Okay.
And the thicker plate. Just heavier. It's exact same though.
Oh yeah?
Couldn't do.
I was gonna get that one. It's like, I think it's like
$599.
200 more than that one.
Yeah. It's just thicker. Thicker and better. It's the real belt. You couldn't tell the difference. It's the exact same thing.
Really?
Exactly.
Wow.
No different.
Can you speak a little bit about Teddy Hart?
Teddy Hart.
He gets a lot of heat.
Oh, he deserves it.
Curious.
He's a scumbag. Talk about a mark. Now, this is a derogatory comment. He's a mark.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. He doesn't understand the business. Doesn't know how to do business. He's selfish. He thinks wrestling is real. He thinks he's Teddy Hart. He thinks he's beating you. It's not. Wrestling's a work.
Yeah.
It's predetermined, as Roddy cleared up in your video.
Yeah.
He just doesn't get the concept of the business. He's a mark. He is a true mark. He is a jabron. He is the lowest of the low. He's a jerk, not a nice human being. He'll step on anybody to get over on you, and will not work with you. He will only do what's good for Teddy Hart, and it's a give and take. It's wrestling's give and take.
Yeah.
You know, I will give to you if you give to me. We have to both look good, you know, and I'll make you look good if you make me look good, you know, and he's just all about him, and that's not the way to do business. Nobody wants to work with him. That's why nobody brings him in. Nobody, you know, he's talented as far as he could do a lot of cool flips, but nobody will want to work with him, and nobody does.
Yeah, we was having a conversation about him earlier, and you said something that kind of surprised me that I never heard of before.
What's that?
You mentioned that he's not really a Hart.
No, he's not. He's
Can you elaborate a little bit?
He's not a Hart. He's got a. That's not his name. He just took the gimmick. He said he was.
He's not in the family.
No, not at all for real. No. He's just somebody that trained up there who decided to take the name on. Oh, yeah? He's not related to them at all.
Okay.
He's a fraud.
It's good to know.
He's a fraud.
I always thought that he was one of them.
No, he's a real jerk.
I found that out today. See, you learn something
every day.
Yeah. All right. We getting real deep into this now.
Yeah, man.
We're getting kind of far here. All right. This is going to be very interesting. I want you to speak about the plane ride from hell.
Oh, okay.
I heard a lot of stories about that. I want you to get real in depth.
I gotta have a cigarette for this one. This is deep.
Yeah, man.
Well, it was crazy. It was a crazy situation.
You know what? We're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back with part 4 of NoKFabin.com with Just Incredible, and we're gonna bring you the plane ride from hell for part 4.
Yeah, man.